You are listening to Skin, Earth, Vitality, the podcast where ancient wisdom meets modern vitality. If you are seeking to reconnect with your innate vibrancy, you're in the right place. I'm Emily Davis, a seasoned holistic esthetician and herbalist. Join me as we unlock the secrets of ancient skincare practices, explore the beauty of seasonal and nature-based living, herbalism, and true holistic well-being for you and the broader ecosystem. This podcast is brought to you by Stratum Aesthetics. Head to stratumaesthetics.com to find curated skincare, body care, and other wellness products hand-selected by me. Now enjoy the show. Please remember that the information I share in this podcast is based on my personal and professional experience and is intended for educational and informational purposes only. It is not individualized skincare advice, nor is it medical advice. I encourage you to take charge of your own health decisions and listen to your body, seeking out the resources and professionals that best support your wellness journey. This is going to be part one of a two-part episode about the skin and how the liver affects the skin, primarily with breakouts and inflammation. And as this episode is airing, it's the end of winter here in the Northern Hemisphere. Spring is really beginning to make its presence felt. And I thought that it would be an appropriate time to chat about the liver. In many medicine systems, from traditional Chinese medicine to Ayurveda to European folk medicine, indigenous cultures of North and South America, as well as Africa, in all of these different medicine systems, spring is a time of renewal, obviously. And when we tap into that, we really feel it in our body. Maybe we're feeling cravings for more greens, or maybe a resolve in our life's purpose, or maybe we're getting new activities going and new ideas going, and maybe you're waking up a little bit earlier, or you're a little more bright-eyed and bushy-tailed than you were a few weeks ago. I know I certainly am. And all of this connects back to the liver. And so in today's episode, I want to talk about your liver and how it affects your skin specifically. And at the time of this recording, we are in our last week of the first round of my program, Reclaim Your Radiance, which focuses on lifestyle foundations for healthy skin. So all of the stuff outside of skincare, all of the foundations that you need before you even start thinking about skincare in order to support healthy skin. So we have 8 pillars, and the final pillar is detoxification and how our elimination organs affect the health of our skin. And that program is gearing up for its next launch in the coming weeks, where it will be available as an evergreen program. And so this is a little taste of what you can expect out of that. And the whole program is really there because our skin serves as an indicator. It's a barometer for our body. It can maybe be an indicator of a liver that's overburdened or sluggish, which then leads to systemic inflammation and issues like hormonal acne. And next week, I want to get into what sustainable liver support looks like. So the actual actionable things that you can do. And I'll talk about herbs and food and tools like castor oil packs. And yes, you guessed it, I'm going to go there and I'm going to talk about coffee enemas, because this is something that I've been using in my life for a very long time and I'm a big believer in. So I'll talk about that stuff. In traditional Chinese medicine, each season corresponds to a specific pair of yin and yang organs, which govern our physical body and then also our emotional body. And the organs for the spring are the liver and the gallbladder. The liver is an organ that's responsible for the smooth flow of qi, which is our vital energy that circulates throughout our body. If you think of your house has like electricity that runs everything, has everything going smoothly. That's what Qi is for our body. And then the gallbladder supports decisiveness and the ability to act on new opportunities. And so during the spring, our bodies are naturally primed to enhance these functions. And that's kind of why you might be feeling like how I was talking about at the top of the episode, more active, waking up earlier, having new ideas, thinking maybe a little bit more clearly around your life's purpose. And so this also means that during the spring, our systems that are linked to these organs, like hormonal balance and emotional regulation, are going to be more receptive to renewal. So it's a great time to align with the season's energies, doing things that you might feel already naturally called to do, like eating bitter greens that can support liver function, which just happened to be growing during this season. So 'tis the season. I thought it would be festive to talk about the liver today. And you might actually notice more breakouts this time of year if your liver is bogged down as we come out of winter. And my goal in everything that I share is always to cut through the noise. I often talk to people who feel quite overwhelmed by online pop wellness culture, where content that shocks you is going to get likes and clicks. And I also do feel that there's a genuine desire to help people, and sharing what causes harm can be helpful. Knowledge is power. But it's also kind of maddening when you're trying to get healthy and do the best for your family. And it's like, Girl Scout cookies have lead. You're poisoning your children. And so I never want to be that. I don't want to be fear-mongering, because when you live in constant fear of every toxin out there, it's not a sustainable way to exist. It's exhausting. It disconnects you from the joy of living. And I grew up with a mom who was a naturopathic doctor. She was the mayor of Crunchtown back in the 90s. She was super ahead of her time. And I grew up with her talking about red dyes and fluoride and pharmaceutical interventions and all of the things. So I have been around this way of thinking my entire life. It's not something I just discovered in the last few years. It's something that I've spent 38 years learning how to navigate in a way that feels balanced and actually livable. And that's what I'm hoping to bring to this conversation. Not perfection, not fear, but a practical, grounded approach to supporting your body in a way that truly works for your real life. And I say all of this because when I talk about the liver, I am going to be talking about toxins. And that word can maybe grind on your nerves a bit, because the vagueness can make it sound like a scare tactic, like you're just chock full of poisons that need to be cleaned out. And I think this can make skeptics dismiss the whole concept of detoxification, even though it's just like this regular, necessary biological function that happens in our body, in every cell, every day. And at the same time, there is a lot of ish that we're exposed to these days. It's messed up that our soils, our waterways, our air, our food, our cleaning products, our personal care products, the medicines we take, our clothes, the stuff we bring into our home, like furniture, sheets, cookware, they're all just so full of crap from industrialization and mass production. And this is all true. It's enough to make you really frazzled and mad and worried. And all of those feelings are valid. But in order to actually make change in your personal life and in the world, it's really important that we alchemize those feelings into action. And to do that, you must be grounded and level-headed. We can't avoid every single toxin, but we can make small changes one at a time to make really big impacts in our life. And so all of this to say, Living in the modern world with ancient bodies, our liver is exposed to a lot, and supporting the liver's natural process is very helpful. Step 1 is reduction of exposure to exogenous toxins. These are toxins that are outside of our body that we are exposed to. And then step 2 is support. So like I said, next week I'll get into support ideas, but this week I want to talk about how it actually affects the way that your skin looks and feels. So your liver isn't just responsible for filtering out toxins from things like food, alcohol, medications. It also plays a huge role in processing hormones, especially estrogen. And the liver is your body's built-in filtration system. It detoxifies in 2 phases. Phase 1 breaks down the substances that the body needs to process into smaller pieces, but these byproducts actually have to get moved out. And so phase 2 detoxification is also really important. This is where the liver packages up the broken down byproducts into forms that can safely exit the body. So an analogy that I used in my program was, let's say you shred your junk mail and then you need to actually bag up the shredded pieces. You can't just have them hanging out in your house forever. You need to take the pieces of junk mail out to the actual recycling bin. And so we need to have both phase 1 and phase 2 detox working well so that hormones and other metabolism byproducts aren't just circling back into your body. But when the liver is sluggish or overburdened, whether from stress or diet or just not being supported properly, hormones like estrogen don't get broken down and eliminated efficiently, and this can lead to an excess of certain hormones in the body, which can show up as breakouts, especially along the jawline and chin. Hello, hormonal acne. And it's not just acne. When the liver isn't processing hormones well, you also might notice things like skin inflammation, dermatitis, puffiness, accelerated signs of aging. And you may be wondering, why do people always say that jawline acne is hormonal, or why does hormonal imbalance tend to show up on the lower face? And it's not just a random pattern. The jawline and lower face have a high concentration of androgen receptors, which means that they're especially sensitive to shifts in hormones. And when that happens, it can show up on your skin in the form of like deep cystic breakouts along the jawline and the chin. In traditional Chinese medicine, the liver meridian runs through the chin and jawline. And so breakouts in this area can indicate that the liver is struggling to process and clear excess hormones. Additionally, in TCM, the liver stores and moves blood. So the concept is that the liver acts as like a reservoir, releasing blood when the body needs it, especially during activity, and then storing it when the body is at rest. If the liver is stagnant or overburdened, blood flow becomes sluggish, which is going to lead to poor circulation and inflammation, because the movement of blood through the body ensures that nutrients and oxygen and vital energy are delivered to all of the tissues, including the skin. And when this blood flow is stagnant or sluggish, this circulation process slows down, which can lead to a buildup of heat and toxins and congestion, which can manifest as deep cystic breakouts, particularly along the jawline and the chin. And so often the breakouts that we get along the jawline can be very different from surface level acne, which is often caused by clogged pores. These hormonal liver-related breakouts are going to be those deeper, more inflamed, slow to heal breakouts. And that's because when this circulation is poor, the affected area is receiving less oxygen. It's receiving fewer nutrients, while these inflammatory byproducts linger longer in the skin. And so the result is these hard, painful, swollen breakouts that don't easily come to a head and can maybe last for weeks. And when the blood isn't moving efficiently, it creates a condition known in TCM as blood stasis, where toxins and heat become trapped in certain areas of the body. So in the case of jawline acne, this stagnation is correlating with those liver and kidney meridians, making it a key indicator that hormones and stress and detoxification pathways need a little extra support. And this explains why many people find that their jawline breakouts worsen around their menstrual cycle, when hormonal shifts can cause increased inflammation and water retention and circulatory changes. And this stagnation in this area can become so much more pronounced, which will lead to flare-ups that feel swollen and tender and difficult to treat with just topical solutions. So supporting the liver's ability to circulate blood and detox efficiently, you can help to reduce the frequency and severity of these deep cystic breakouts. So this means focusing on foods and herbs and lifestyle practices that promote better circulation and hormone balance and detoxification, and then also chi flow. And one thing that I think can sometimes feel kind of confusing is that it's kind of tempting to think that the skin is just like pushing toxins out of the skin, but that's not really how it works. The body isn't forcing toxins out like through a breakout or through a rash. It's not like your skin is sweating out a bad decision from last weekend. Instead, what's actually happening is that when the liver is sluggish or overburdened, it struggles to efficiently process and eliminate waste. And this can lead to systemic inflammation, which then shows up on the skin as breakouts or redness or irritation. So rather than thinking of your skin as purging toxins, quote unquote, which yes, your skin does sweat out urea and ammonia through the sweat and also very small amounts of heavy metals. But I actually find it more helpful to see the skin as a mirror that's reflecting what's happening internally. And when the liver is functioning well, inflammation throughout your whole body is going to be lower, hormones are going to be more balanced, and the skin has a much better chance of staying clear and calm. And in the colder months, we naturally slow down, we eat heavier foods, we conserve energy. But as the days get longer and warmer, our system is starting to shift into a more active cleansing mode. So it makes a lot of sense that the liver is such a star this time of year. And so you may start to experience more jawline breakouts in the spring. And from what we've already discussed, this makes a lot of sense. Spring is considered liver season. This is a time when our liver is just naturally becoming more active, clearing out the stagnation of winter. And as the liver kicks into high gear, it can temporarily stir up the detoxification process, causing like a little internal shakeup. And this can lead to more hormonal shifts, maybe more inflammation, more skin reactions. And the liver isn't just processing toxins and hormones and metabolic byproducts, it's also processing emotions. It is considered the organ of anger and frustration. And why is that? It's because the liver's main job is to keep everything flowing, whether it's blood or hormones or energy. And when it's working well, things move smoothly in both the body and in our mind. But if the liver is sluggish or stagnant or overburdened, that flow gets blocked. And what happens when things get stuck? Pressure builds up. So think about a time when you felt stuck in your life, like you couldn't move forward. Things just weren't going your way. That frustration, that pent up feeling, that's liver energy that isn't moving. And just like a river that gets clogged and overflows, that stagnation can spill over into irritability and having a short temper, or even physical tension like jaw clenching, or maybe tight shoulders or tightening in your neck. And from a Western perspective, this also makes sense because the liver is heavily involved in managing stress hormones like cortisol. And if the liver is struggling to process and clear out stress hormones efficiently, they're going to linger in the body longer, which is keeping you in a state of heightened frustration and tension. So if you've ever felt extra easily irritated in the spring, or maybe noticed yourself sighing a lot, it's not just in your head. It could be your liver signaling that it needs some support. And when you start helping your liver flow better, I definitely find that my mood improves, and I also often will see it in my skin. And speaking of sighing is one of the body's instinctive ways to move that stagnant energy and reset the flow. It's almost like an internal pressure valve. So these things are getting blocked. A deep sigh releases tension. It expands the chest. It gets the chi moving again. And again, from a Western perspective, sighing plays a key role in nervous system regulation and stress relief. It actually stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system, helping to calm your body. It increases oxygen intake, which helps the liver function more efficiently, since oxygen is essential for detoxification. It loosens tension in your diaphragm, which can get very tight from stress and also from restricted breathing. Sighing lowers cortisol levels, which can help reduce stress-related inflammation. And when stress and frustration build up, the liver struggles to efficiently process hormones and metabolic waste. And this again is going to contribute to inflammation and breakouts, sluggishness in the body. Sighing is just a simple built-in way that your body releases stuck energy and resets your nervous system. I quite often find myself sighing a lot, and I just take that as a little note from my body saying, hey, I need some support. So instead of ignoring it, I recommend leaning into this and taking some intentional deep breaths, stretching, maybe doing a little gentle movement to keep your liver flowing smoothly. So let's go ahead and do that right now. Maybe you're driving in your car, taking a walk, cleaning. Go ahead and take a break from, well, if you're driving, don't take a break from that, but you can do it while you're driving. So let's take a deep inhale through your nose. Fill your lungs completely and exhale with an audible sigh. Repeat this like 3 to 5 times, letting go of the tension in your shoulders, your jaw, your chest. You can literally sigh your way to a healthier liver. A lot of times we can find ourselves sighing unconsciously when we're overwhelmed or frustrated. But when you do it on purpose, it's just this really cool little built-in tool for liver support. So that's just a little teaser. That's one tool that you can use. Next week, I'll be sharing a couple more things that you can do to support your liver and, of course, in turn, support your skin. I will be back, and until then, be well. You've been listening to Skin, Earth, Vitality. If you like what you heard today, consider giving me a 5-star rating. It helps other people just like you to find the show. You can shop products and find all of my offerings on my website, stratumaesthetics.com, and follow me on my social channels @stratumaesthetics.